Hi there. This is the Inspired Living with Ellen Broderick podcast. And today I'm going to talk about the way we can use poetry or sacred script or any kind of writing to that inspires us to meditate on. I was introduced to this type of meditation from an Indian master that I never met, but that I did a lot of reading and also listening to his words. He was out in the Berkeley area, in the hills around Berkeley, and he taught at Berkeley. And his name was Eknath Easwaran. And he called this kind of meditation a passage meditation. And he had been a disciple of Gandhi's. He had learned and studied with Gandhi. And one of his early teachers was his grandmother. So he has wonderful stories about what he learned from his grandmother as well. The idea of meditation is to bring your full attention to one point. And you can make that point your breath. You can make that point the feel of the air. You can make it the sounds that you hear. You can make it a passage. And one way to do this passage meditation is to take a passage that is really meaningful to you and put it to memory. And then as you meditate, you slowly repeat the passage to yourself over and over again. The way I'm going to use this meditation today is I'm going to take us through the connection to the elements and to the breath. And then I'm going to do a body scan and have a bit of time in this internal space. And while you're in the internal space, I'm going to read to you this poem, which is called "What Would It Feel Like to Trust the Universe?" It's by Amara Karuna. And I'm going to read it slowly, passage by passage. I'm going to leave some extended space between the stanzas that I share so that they can become a part of you. Now, if this is not a poem that speaks to you, you can just let it go aside and then just come into your own focus in your inner sanctuary, and could be your breath. And then I'll bring you back out again. And the last thing I'll say is I'm going to have you set an intention for the practice as well. And we repeat that at the end of the time in the inner space. And after the poem is finished, I'm going to leave some really significant amount of time just to be present for your own communion with the inner voice, that still small voice within. Okay, so let's get going. You want to lie down for this one or sit down and have a soft gaze or eyes closed. And I'm going to go between the two. And just coming to the breath. And noticing what kind of communication the breath is giving you about your state of being. And then listening to the sounds that are in your environment. You don't even have to know what the sound is, just acknowledging, hearing each particular sound, and just letting it go. And notice your own state of being, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Notice any smells that are in the room. Notice any tastes that are in your mouth or other sensations. And notice the contact points between your body and the surface beneath you. And then bring your attention to your heart and just rest your attention on your heart. And you might notice how the heart is cushioned on the pillows of your lungs. And ask your heart what you need now. And with whatever comes to the surface, create an intention or sankulpa using present tense and positive words. You're going to create a short and succinct phrase that speaks of what your heart desires as though you have that now. So if the heart desires some time to rest between thoughts, then your intention might be, my thoughts are clear with space between. Whatever your intention is, repeat it to yourself 3 times. And then we'll do a rotation of consciousness through the body. And today we'll start in the mouth. So noticing inside the mouth, noticing sensation, and noticing the various aspects of the inner mouth, like the tongue, the roof of the mouth, the teeth, the gums, and the lips. And then noticing the chin and jaw, the cheeks, the nose and nostrils, the eyes, they rest in their sockets. The eyebrows, and the forehead. Notice the ears and sides of the head, and the crown or top of the head. Bring your attention to the back of the head. Notice the neck and the throat. And then bring your attention to your shoulders. Allow a sense of ease in the shoulders. Notice your upper arms. Your elbows. Forearms. Wrists. And notice both palms and the dorsal or backside of the hands. Notice the 10 fingers. And pay attention to the space between the fingers for a moment. Bring your attention back to your shoulders and focus on your upper torso. Notice your lower torso. Your hips. Thighs. Knees. Shins and calves. Bring your attention to your ankles. To the soles of the feet. And the tops of the feet. Bring your attention to the body as a whole. Noticing the whole body. The whole body. And bring your attention to the area around the body and notice what you sense in the area within, say, the first 6 inches or 8 inches of the body. And then imagine this place within where you can feel completely at ease. Totally at peace. Where you sense balance and equanimity. A place where you feel fully known, appreciated, understood, and loved. And notice if there's anything that you would like to have in this inner space. It might be some object that's special to you. It might be a color or a sound. But if there's something that could increase your sense of well-being, just invite that into your inner space. And then listening to each phrase of this poem and meditating on that if it feels appropriate to you. What would it feel like to have no fear of the future? What if you could stride forward with confidence and faith, knowing that whatever comes is medicine? What if you were assured that you were equal to whatever task arises, or at least you were willing to give it a good try? What if the waves of change and destruction can be met with interest, free from anxiety? What if there is a path through the pain, a shining trail through the darkness that can always be found by asking and blazed with a light from within? What if you could face a dark cloud of imminent doom with equanimity? What if you could see the people vying to control the world as aspects of the world mind, unwilling to admit their tiny specks of power are actually minute particles in a vastness that can never be tamed? What would it feel like to lean into the future grinning, like leaning into a strong wild wind with arms spread wide and hair whipping everywhere, letting the forces that guide you have their way? What would it feel like to really trust the universe? beginning to notice while you're still in this inner sanctuary and in this blessed space, how you feel. What's your state of being, body, mind, and spirit? And then recall your intention, your Sankulpa, and repeat it to yourself 3 times, 4 times, somewhere in there. And visualize your life with this shift. And then bringing your attention to your breath. And to the beating of your heart. And then notice what surfaces when you invoke gratitude within yourself. And let each gratitude that surfaces open your heart allow for vulnerability and connection. Bringing in a trust of the universe in all that she provides. And maybe inviting the wild forces all around us that are connected to pure knowing to guide us. And coming back to your breath. And taking 3 slow, long, even cycles of breath. And ending with an appreciation for your showing up to practice the listening for that small voice within through the practice of meditation. And coming fully back. Open your eyes when you're ready. Might want to look at something distant or something alive, like a plant initially. Thanks so much for joining and participating in this passage meditation combined with Yoga Nidra. And I will look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good one.